This is Greg Penglis for Action Radio with Founding Moments, insights into our founding documents, sponsored by Santa Rosa Volunteers here in Santa Rosa County, Florida. Santa Rosa Volunteers is available at their website, SRV1776.com. That's SRV1776.com. Federalist Number 10, published on November 22nd, 1787, is a continuation by James Madison of his dire warnings against domestic faction and insurrection. Interesting choice of words. That he began in Federalist Number 9. He engages in the same made-up predictions designed to generate fear for the purpose of ratifying the Constitution over updating the Articles of Confederation. Most of Federalist Number 10 is a total waste of time. It's recycled nonsense from previous papers, and it's boring. However, way down about halfway, it gets very interesting, and that is in the discussion of a democracy versus a republic. Madison says, "From this view of the subject, it may be concluded that a pure democracy, by which I mean a society consisting of a small number of citizens who assemble and administer the government in person, can admit of no cure for the mischiefs of faction. A common passion or interest will, in almost every case, be felt by a majority of the whole. A communication and concert result from the form of government itself, and there is nothing to check the inducements to sacrifice the weaker party or an obnoxious individual. Hence, it is that such democracies have ever been spectacles of turbulence and contention, have ever been found incompatible with personal security or the rights of property, and have in general been as short in their lives as they have been violent in their deaths. Theoretic politicians who have patronized this species of government have erroneously supposed that by reducing mankind to a perfect equality in their political rights, they would at the same time be perfectly equalized and assimilated in their possessions, their opinions, and their passions." In other words, according to James Madison, democracies don't work. And he's absolutely right. You can't have perfect equality with equality of everything, everybody, every expectation, and every outcome. The only perfectly equal society is where everybody has equally had all their property and rights removed by a totalitarian government. So much for democracy. That's why the Constitution in Article 4, Section 4 declares that we are guaranteed a republican form of government. So let's see what Madison says about that. He says, "The two great points of difference between a democracy and a republic are, first, the delegation of the government, in the latter to a small number of citizens elected by the rest. Secondly, the greater number of citizens and greater sphere of country over which the latter may be extended." The effect of the first difference is, on the one hand, to refine and enlarge the public views by passing them through the medium of a chosen body of citizens whose wisdom may best discern the true interest of their country and whose patriotism and love of justice will least likely to sacrifice it to temporary or partial considerations. The other point of difference is the greater number of citizens and extent of territory which may be brought within the compass of republican than of democratic government, and it is this circumstance principally which renders factious combinations less to be dreaded in the former than in the latter. Okay, well, that's all well and good. We are a republic, not a democracy. But how does this specifically relate to having a union under the new Constitution versus having a confederation under the old Articles? Madison doesn't say. Instead, he makes a rather large leap in talking about a large republic, which the United States would be given the expansion plans in the works. He wants you to assume that a large republic is better managed by the new Constitution over his predicted claims that under the Articles of Confederation, the Union will split into factions. That is really the heart of the hidden argument throughout this paper. He says, "Hence, it clearly appears that the same advantage which a republic has over a democracy in controlling the effects of faction is enjoyed by a large over a small republic, is enjoyed by the Union over the states composing it. By the Union over the states composing it? So much for federalism. This is a statement of a national government system supreme over the states, which was, I fear, the whole idea of the Constitution all along. Also, Madison offers no evidence or argument that a large republic is better than a small one. One would assume that if republics are the best form of government, they'd be good regardless of size. Also, missing is any evidence that the Constitution would prevent factions any better than the Articles of Confederation. I wonder how Madison would have explained the factions that created the Civil War under his very Constitution. Madison asks many rhetorical questions throughout this paper, which are designed to lead you to the appropriate rhetorical answers. However, the connection of questions to the probability of those actual events occurring in the answers is why I challenge his entire line of questioning. In his last argument for the Union under the Constitution, Madison actually argues the inferiority of states to control their factions over the national government, who would never let such factions spread to the other states. He says, "The influence of the factious leaders may kindle a flame within their particular states, but will be unable to spread a general conflagration through the other states. A religious sect may degenerate into a political faction in a part of the Confederacy, but the variety of sects dispersed over the entire face of it must secure the national councils against any danger from that source. A rage for paper money, for an abolition of debts, for an equal division of property, or for any other improper or wicked project will be less apt to pervade the whole body of the Union than a particular member of it. In the same proportion as such, a malady is more likely to taint a particular county or district than an entire state." Well, the rage for paper money is causing economic suicide right now, but I digress. The Confederacy he talks about is under the Articles of Confederation in the 1700s. The Confederacy that seceded from the Union is in the 1860s under the Constitution. That was the greatest faction split of all. Would it have happened under the Articles of Confederation? Unfortunately, we will never know. In conclusion, out of nowhere, with no real evidence or arguments, just peripheral information and rhetorical questions that aren't relevant or even connected, Madison says that it is the character of the Federalists that makes the Constitution worth ratifying. He says, "In the extent and proper structure of the Union, therefore, we behold a Republican remedy for the diseases most incident to a Republican government, and according to the degree of pleasure and pride we feel in being Republicans, ought to be our zeal in cherishing the spirit and supporting the character of Federalists." One has to wonder how Republican remedies will cure Republican diseases. Also, it is that character of the Federalists that the Anti-Federalists are challenging in every Anti-Federalist paper they write. The source for the Federalist Papers is federalistpapers.org. The Anti-Federalist Papers are from selfeducatedamerican.com. The Articles of Confederation are from usconstitution.net. This is Greg Penglis for Action Radio with Founding Moments, sponsored by Santa Rosa Volunteers. Their website is srv1776.com. That's srv1776.com. Please share this report to anyone who needs it.